We've got the Telegraph writer, James Delingpole, joining us 30 minutes into the next hour to discuss eugenicist gunman exposes dark side of the environmentalist cult. And I've got a special video that I shot and produced just last night that we're going to premiere here on the radio coming up in about 10 minutes that breaks all of that down. And then we'll come back from break and I'll give you the latest intel on that front to give you a window into the mindset of these people. See, he went in with a gun to preach about how we need to get rid of the majority of the population and children are parasites that need to be exterminated. That's direct quotes of Peter Singer, a big eugenicist at Princeton, who the media puts on and says is great. See, the globalists are smart. They come with covert vaccines and drugs that you're told are for your own good. And in the video, I break down the actual Rockefeller Foundation documents and show them and tell you where you can get them, where they admit they made these vaccines, they're adding it to the vaccines, and they're doing all of this. Bill Gates thinks you're so dumb now that he is, on national television saying we need to develop vaccines to reduce world population. And then the audience laughs because it was an audience of globalists. It's a power-tripping, control freak mindset that these scum are into. And more I realize that, of course, we're going to be under mainstream media and COINTELPRO attack. Who else is hammering the drum to deal with the big issue of all the soft kill weapons around us? The bisphenol A, the sodium fluoride, the mercury in the shots, the chemicals in the food and water, the lead in the corn syrup. All over the news. They're reporting that people are refusing to buy bisphenol A line products, and so plastic makers are rushing to produce plastic that doesn't have it in it and saying, look, we're bisphenol A clean. We don't have any. The globalists are scared, ladies and gentlemen. I went to Target 2 weeks ago, and I've told this story, and almost all of the Tupperware areas are not plastic now. They're glass. And they advertise, hey, we're glass. We're safe. And I've been talking to friends and family who've been in Walmart and other grocery stores, and they say it's the same thing. Glass everywhere, or it's plastic, and they say we're bisphenol A free. Remember in the last 6-7 years, Monsanto and others tried to sue milk producers who would put we don't have growth hormone in our milk, saying you're not allowed to tell people you don't have it. And folks won their lawsuits to say, no, we're allowed in America to say our cows aren't injected with growth hormone. And guess what? There's almost no growth hormone milk even available now because people will not buy it. And it's the same thing with the vaccines. It's the exact same thing. People are now waking up to that. And it's the same issue with all of these different products. The system is scared because they'll sit there and stonewall and push it and tell you there's no problem and tell you it's a conspiracy theory, hoping you just go away until suddenly they look strong, they look invincible, they implode, they fall apart. Just like ClimateGate's come out and exposed the carbon taxes as a fraud. Just like it's come out that the entire carbon tax is a fraud. And they are panicking. And so they've got families, shooting themselves, killing their kids, trying to kill their kids, saying they're doing it for Al Gore. They've got people taking over buildings with guns, threatening to kill people, calling, babies filthy parasites because they hate humanity so much, because they've been taught to turn off their will to live, their instinct for survival. They've been taught that the instinct for survival is bad and that hating themselves and their fellow man is good. Meanwhile, if you really care about the earth and the environment, and I agree we need to take care of this planet, you need to understand the globalists say they can pollute anything they want, use DU anywhere they want, have as many nuclear reactors as they want, genetically engineer the entire biosphere, release salmon in the ocean that are guaranteed to extinct all natural salmon. That's already being done. They just don't care because they claim they're about to be godlike in all their writings with all these advanced technologies and that they can just repair it or remake it or make it better than it was, more human than human. More salmon than salmon, more cow than cow, more goat than goat, more spider than spider. They're releasing cross-species chimera spiders, cross-species chimera goats, cross-species chimera cows, cross-species chimera plants by the hundreds, everything. Salmon that have got 8 different insect genes in them are now in the ocean. They're twice as big, more aggressive than the regular salmon. They're not even salmon. In fact, let's just go ahead now and play this video where I break down this eugenicist who ought to be proud. He's dead. One more parasite gone. And you know, I'm actually sad he's dead because he could have been deprogrammed. But remember, if you are a eugenicist and you hate your fellow man and you think there's too many people, don't go take hostages. Don't kill your children like some of these people are doing or try to kill your children. Think of all these cases coming out in the news. You know, don't go out and kill your kids. If you want to kill yourself, that's your issue. But don't say that you're going to try to make me only have one child policy. Don't support the spiking of the food and water. This is the big issue. This is what's going on in the backdrop of society. This is why they've got us divided and conquered on so many other issues, on race, religion, all of it. Meanwhile, the scientific dictatorship is targeting everyone with the soft kill weapons. And again, it's 100% out in the open. This is not my opinion. Think of the magnitude of that. But also think of the magnitude of the fact that we have now been able to reach out to people without any mainstream media support and expose vaccines, expose bisphenol A, expose fluoride and mercury and lead and GMO. In every major GMO case, you study it, it's been designed to not just be pesticide resistant, to not just be drought resistant, it's got the added changes to create a pharmacological crop, whether it's soybeans, corn, it doesn't matter, to sterilize you. You have a right to say no to this. And the eugenicists and their control freak human haters don't have a right to force it on us. Just like the UN supports forced abortion in China. They want forced abortion here. They want forced inoculation here. But think of how far we've come. They ignored us for a decade on bisphenol A. Suddenly it's collapsing. The same thing is starting with fluoridation of water. With the majority of EPA scientists going public over and over again in public letters saying this causes brain cancer, bone cancer, it's deadly, it reduces IQ, here's all the mainline studies. It's about to collapse. That's why the globalists are moving so fast with starting wars and depression to make you so bankrupt and so barely on the edge of financial survival that you can't even pay attention to what's going on. The globalists almost have their scientific dictatorship, but on so many fronts, they are now failing. On so many fronts, they are now in deep trouble. On so many fronts, their system is stalling. And now is the time for humanity to come together against this tyranny. Now is the time to realize that the globalists believe they're going to inherit the earth and the life extension technologies and all of it by soft killing us and brain damaging us and giving us vaccines that rewire our brains to, quote, stop stress or our capacity to get angry and resist. Well, in the words of Howard Beale, all I know is first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being that controls my own destiny. Here is the video exposing the eugenicist with the gun. Because this is key information, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. Hello, friends. Alex Jones here.